second ministerial statement.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, fellow members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly greet you again after our brief morning tea. Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise to inform this August House of a significant milestone in Fiji's history, the 150th anniversary of the Fiji Corrections Service, which was commemorated last week. This historic celebration marks not only a century and a half of institutional endurance, but also of transformation from colonial-era prison system focused on punishment to a modern correctional service that now champions rehabilitation, restoration, reintegration. The anniversary provided a moment of reflection, gratitude, and renewed purpose. It was an opportunity to honor those who have served with courage and conviction, and to recognize the continuing evolution of Fiji Corrections Service as a cornerstone of Fiji's justice system. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Fiji Corrections Service traces its roots to the year 1875, when the early prison system was formally separated from the police under the 1884 Ordinance. Back then, the first prison was established beside Nasoba Police Station in the area known as Nasese, a name derived from the Itoke word sese, meaning lost. The symbolism is profound. Fiji Corrections Service has, from the very beginning, stood at the crossroad between loss and restoration, guiding those who have lost their way back towards the path of redemption. In later years, the prison relocated to Corvo near St. Giles Psychiatric Hospital and Cemetery, areas once referred to in colonial times as places for mad, bad, and dead. But even there, the seeds of transformation were sown. The introduction of the Prisons Ordinance Cap 86 on 10 July 1970 marked a pivotal shift towards modern correctional standards and humane treatment of inmates. Over the past 150 years, the Fiji Corrections Service has weathered many challenges and defining moments. We recall the riots of 1968, the burning of the super prison in 1979, and the uprising at Atambua later the same year. We also remember the May 2000 crisis, when prisoners overpowered officers in Mboro and hostages were taken in Suva. These events, while painful, became a catalyst for reform, innovation, and strength. They shaped the modern corrections service we know today, an institution built on resilience, courage, and lessons learned through adversity. Madam Deputy Speaker, we pay tribute to the men and women who saved during these difficult times, notably Mr. Sarushi Ngauna, who only at 19 years of age bravely stood his ground during the 1979 Suva prison riot, exemplifying courage and loyalty to duty. Likewise, Mr. Liano Bueti's experience during the same incident inspired the creation of the Emergency Control Unit, or what is now commonly called now ECU, a critical component of Fiji Corrections Service that ensures safety and stability of our correctional institutions today. I also pay tribute to the former Commissioner, Honorable Naibul Rua and Honorable Vasu, who are part of this transformation and now are seated in this August House. During the week-long celebration, the Fiji Corrections Service also honored ex-servicemen whose bravery and leadership during the 2000 Namboro incident remain etched in our national memory. Their stories behind us remind us that the foundation of today's Fiji Corrections Service were built on sacrifice, commitment, and faith in the principle of justice. The world today presents new challenges, Madam Deputy Speaker. Offenders are younger. The influence of drugs and mental health issues is greater. And the rehabilitation needs of inmates are far more complex. Fiji Corrections Service has recognized that the purpose of correction is not only to secure, but to heal. The institution is shifting its focus from incarceration to rehabilitation and regeneration. Rehabilitation is about equipping inmates with education, vocational training, psychological and spiritual support so that they can lead productive lives upon release. Reintegration, however, is the greatest test. It calls for partnership across government, especially for NGOs, churches, the private sector, the communities to help ex-offenders reintegrate into society with dignity. Madam Deputy Speaker, I take a moment to cite one good example. Waione Temu was pardoned by the Mercy Commission in 2023. He was convicted soon after he turned 18, so he became an adult. Almost 22 years he was in prison. He was a budding rugby player. Through the rehabilitation, he kept to his dream. Upon his release, this year created a marked history for the Kandavu Provincial Council and for Kandavu Island, being captain of the Kandavu team and winning the competition. I also call on civil societies. Union Silsila, a subject of discussion last year, of our acceptance. And let us remind what Honorable Prime Minister doctrine, let love shine. Matthew 18, 21, 22. Then Peter came up and said to him, Jesus, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. Matthew 6, 14, 15. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. A coalition government is also drafting a new legislation following cabinet endorsement in June 2025. The new proposed draft of the Criminal Records Bill will provide opportunities to facilitate reform and reintegration of ex-inmates who fulfill the criteria agreed upon during consultation. The bill will be an opportunity to make good on forgiveness for former inmates whilst they have served more than 10 years, some 20, some 30 years. They cannot go overseas. We cannot look at the indiscretion when they were 18, when they are 19, they're 20. The doctrine of love is paramount in this case. Additionally, the ongoing rehabilitation services provided through Yellow Ribbon Project, a national movement that encourages all Fijians to give ex-offenders a second chance. Choose inclusion over exclusion or compassion over condemnation. This was a project that was introduced by Honorable Naibal Dua, the Minister for Policing. The 150th anniversary celebration is not only a time to look back, but also to look forward with hope. It reminds us that justice is not solely about punishment, but it's also about restoration, redemption, and renewal. The theme of the week called upon every officer and every Fijian to remember the humanity they bind us all. Hebrews 13:3. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body. These words capture the heart of what Fiji Corrections Service stands for: compassion, empathy, and the shared duty to restore dignity where it was lost. Madam Deputy Speaker, as the line minister, I take this time to thank the Fiji Corrections Service staff for their unwavering commitment to service, professionalism, and humanity in carrying out their duties. Their work is sacred. Every day, they deal with some of the society's most difficult realities. Yet they do so with compassion, courage, and sense of moral duty. For 150 years, the Fiji Corrections Service endured trials, celebrated triumphs, and welcomed transformation. As we look ahead to the next 150 years, may this institution continue to embody compassion, professionalism, and unity in its mission to build a safer, stronger, and more just communities for all Fijians. Pinahwale, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you for your second ministerial statement, Honourable Turanga. I now call upon the Leader of the Opposition's designate for her reply, Honourable Pramila Kumar.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I also thank the Minister for taking us through history, just part of the history, not the full history. Madam Deputy Speaker, while we acknowledge 150 years of the Fiji Corrections Service, this milestone should not be treated as a moment of celebration alone. It must be a moment of reflection and an honest one. because after a century and a half, our prisons are still overcrowded and unsafe. Madam Deputy Speaker, the government may celebrate 150 years of corrections, but the simple question is, what has actually been corrected? And we've heard the Minister talking about the various work done by Honorable Navalarua when he was the Commissioner at Fiji Correction Services. And the work that he did was in the Yellow Ribbon Program. And that is a good example of how the institution has evolved over a period of time. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, we continue to see chronic overcrowding. The Suva Remand Center, built in 2013 by the Bainimarama government, was designed for about 200 offenders. However, it is regularly holding over 280. In Lambasa, a facility meant for few inmates is now holding quite a large number of prisoners. These conditions are not only unsafe but inhumane. They breed violence, disease, and despair. Madam Deputy Speaker, officials have also admitted that the system cannot cope without major reform and better coordination across agencies. Then there's the state of healthcare. Many inmates enter the system with serious untreated illnesses, HIV, tuberculosis, and chronic conditions. And there is still no proper system to ensure medical care follows them from court to prison. This puts both prisoners and staff at risk. Rehabilitation, as the Minister has spoken at length, has been the heart of correction services. And we have seen recidivism rate remains low, which is a sign that there are lower reoffenders after serving their prison term. Madam Deputy Speaker, we need to equip our offenders with the tools they need to reintegrate. Like, for example, anger management. That is very important. Life skills. And of course, above all, is the community support. Madam Deputy Speaker, the issue of contraband continues to expose how fragile prison security really is. Drugs, mobile phones, and other illegal items keep finding their way in. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of systemic weaknesses, corruption, and lack of proper oversight. We also cannot ignore the human side of this crisis, both for inmates and staff. Reports of inhumane treatment continues to surface while the officers themselves are overstretched. And of course, they are also demoralized. Madam Deputy Speaker, we must stop pretending that the passage of time equals progress. 150 years of correction means nothing if the same problem persists. If prison number keeps increasing, and if we continue to ignore human dignity, we need to fix some of these basic issues faced by our inmates and also the workers at the correction services. Madam Deputy Speaker, we now see new types of issues emerging in correction services, and we have to correct these issues. Currently, the current issues are nepotism and abuse of authority at correction services. The matter is before the tribunal where taxpayers' money is wasted because of inability to appoint right person for the job. There's also misuse of Fiji Correction Services Welfare and Sports Fund. There is unfair termination of senior staff. These are also very pertinent issues because if we want the workforce to do their job well, this matter needs to be looked at. And if we do not adopt open merit recruitment process, this is what we end up with. So thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Before I take my seat, I can only say that if we really want to deliver justice, then we need to look at all these issues together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premila Kumar. On to our third ministerial statement now, Honourable Members. I now call upon the Minister for Finance and Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Esrom Emmanuel to deliver his first of two statements. Naka.
Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Assistant Ministers, and Members of Parliament. I rise today to inform the August House of a transformative step in our national agriculture and economy journey. A partnership that signals a new era of investments, innovation, and opportunity for Fiji's people. It is a partnership that blends the best of international expertise with our own national vision for growth, one that places our rural communities, our farmers, and our land at the heart of development. Before I proceed, I wish to acknowledge with deep gratitude the leadership of Honorable Manoa Kamkamida, the former Minister for Trade, Cooperatives, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Communication, who has been working with the executive team from Aitken Spence Plantation Pty Limited. His dedication and foresight laid the foundation for what we now see unfolding, a partnership of great promise for our nation. Madam Deputy Speaker, Aitken Spence is no stranger to Fiji. Established in 1868, this Sri Lankan corporate leader has a footprint across South Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and right here in the South Pacific. It's a name built on 150 years of trust, innovation, and sustainability. Through its subsidiary, Alpitia Plantations PLC, the company manages over 8,800 hectares of agricultural estate in Sri Lanka, producing tea, rubber, coconut, cinnamon, and oil palm, while expanding into renewable energy, commercial forestry, horticulture, and ecotourism. This depth of experience and integrated approach to agribusiness is precisely what Fiji needs as we modernize and diversify our agricultural sector. It is the kind of partnership that brings not just capital, but capacity, not just investment, but insight. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the first pillar of this partnership is the Palm Oil Development Project in Benua Levu, a landmark initiative designed to convert uneconomical lands into productive, high-yield plantations. The project is expected to transform livelihoods in the north. It aims to raise farmers' average annual income from Fiji dollar 2,500 to Fiji dollar 13,500 per annum, while generating export revenue projected to reach 125 USD million per year once fully established. These are not abstract figures. They represent food on the table, school fees paid, and hope restored for thousands of rural families. At its heart, the project follows a nucleus plasma model, a structure that ensures landowners and local communities remain full partners in development. The nucleus estate, managed through a joint venture between Aitken Spence and Fijian institutions such as FNPF, Fijian Holdings, and the unit trust will drive processing and export operations. The plasma farms, managed by local villagers and cooperatives, will retain land ownership, access training, and share directly in the profit. This is not just investment, it's empowerment. It is about putting ownership, dignity, and opportunity back into the hands of our people. Aitken Spence is also into diversifying with horticulture and high-value crops. Madam Deputy Speaker, complementing this northern initiative is a pilot horticulture project in Nandi, and this project focuses on introducing high-value crops such as papaya, pineapple, dragon fruit, mangoes, berries, coffee, cinnamon, and passion fruit. The vision is clear: to make Fiji a hub for premium tropical produce in the Pacific, driven by modern farming technology, sustainable practices, and value-added processing right here in our shores. By doing so, we strengthen food security, reduce imports, and create export-ready agricultural value chains where every farmer, every processor, and every community benefits from shared prosperity. Madam Deputy Speaker, Atkins Spence is also into partnership for people and the planet. What makes this initiative stand out is its commitment to sustainability. Atkins Spence is globally recognized for its environmental stewardship, a principle that aligns perfectly with Fiji's vision for a green and blue economy. The company has pledged to develop only on idle or degraded land, integrate renewable energy into operations, and uphold strict environmental safeguards. This is development with conscience, growth that does not come at the expense of forests, waterways, or biodiversity. It also embraces social responsibility by promoting intercropping of cash crops like papaya and pineapple during palm oil's early years, ensuring farmers have steady income even before the main crop matures. This is how we redefine agricultural process, not as extraction, but as regeneration, not as profit for a few, but prosperity for all. Atkins Spence is also a catalyst for rural transformation. Madam Deputy Speaker, the impact of this partnership will be far-reaching. It will generate thousands of jobs in planting, harvesting, processing, logistics, and marketing. It will drive rural infrastructure, roads, storage, and connectivity, and attract new investment into communities that have long been left behind. The partnership will establish Fiji as a regional model of inclusive agricultural development built on cooperation, partnership, and sustainability. Atkins Spence, Madam Speaker, has also a vision beyond the horizon. As this initiative takes root, we see before us a broader vision of Fiji as the agricultural innovation hub of the Pacific, a nation that Fiji itself exports to the world and sustains its people with dignity and pride. The people will continue to support such partnership, the government will continue to support such partnership through enabling policies, transparent land frameworks, and targeted investment incentives that prioritize rural development, job creation, and food security. We will continue to empower farmers through cooperatives, micro-enterprises, and training programs that connect traditional wisdom with modern science. And we will continue to protect our environment because sustainable growth is not an option, it is our obligation to our future generation. Madam Deputy Speaker, the partnership between Fiji and Atkins Spence is more than an investment announcement. It is a defining moment for our nation. It is a statement that Fiji is ready to lead not just in tourism and services, but in agriculture, food production, and sustainable enterprise. It reminds us that every great transformation begins with a single seed, planted in faith, nurtured through partnership, and harvested through perseverance. As we look to the future, let us remember that our greatest resource has always been our people, their hands, their hearts, and their hope. Today we are building a Fiji that grows what it eats, exports what it grows, and prospers by what it creates. That, Honorable Speaker, is the Fiji we are cultivating, a nation of opportunity, sustainability, and shared success. Navalevu, may God bless our farmers, our land, and our beloved Fiji. Naki.
Thank you, Honourable Emmanuel, Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development. I now call upon the designate of the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Alvik Maharaj, for his reply.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's good to note that Minister for Finance recognizes the input of Atkins Spence in Fiji's economy. While we have had this organization been criticized, though they have totally overturned our Fiji Ports Limited from a loss-making entity to a profitable organization. Just as a background, those who don't know Atkins Spence is the same company that is currently operating Fiji ports. At least the new Minister of Finance has recognized Atkins Spence's importance in now revolving the agriculture sector. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the former Minister for Trade, Honorable Manua Kamikamida. Though he stands up in the Parliament and rubbishes what we have done in past 16 years, but behind the scene continues with our program and policies such as this to showcase himself as a very effective minister. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this initiative represents a strategic and necessary leap towards Fiji's agriculture sector, providing a robust framework to drive economic growth, enhance food security, and ensure climate resilience. It is a major positive step that aligns Fiji's agriculture with global best practices and high-value export markets. The Atkins Spence Plantation Limited Agriculture Initiative is a catalyst for national prosperity through several key channels. By focusing on the high-value crops and establishing a large-scale, efficient supply chain, the initiative will significantly diversify Fiji's export basket beyond traditional commodities. This promises a substantial increase in foreign exchange, aiming at a greater stability for the national economy. Madam Deputy Speaker, the partnership brings in world-class technology, investment, and management expertise necessary to modernize Fiji's farming practice. This large-scale commercial approach sets a new benchmark for productivity and equality, which will ultimately benefit the entire agricultural sector. The project has brought in to provide major source of stable, high-quality rural employment, moving away from sustainable farming towards salaried technical jobs in agronomy, processing, and logistics. This supports the government's goal of strengthening the private sector engagement in creating sustainable livelihood in rural areas. Madam Deputy Speaker, the initiative will pioneer the scale-up climate resilient farming techniques and sustainable practices. This acknowledged base is crucial for Fiji's long-term food security and will serve as a valuable case study for entire Pacific region. Madam Deputy Speaker, for the initiative's success to be genuinely transformative, its benefit must be seamlessly integrated and transferred to the small-scale farmers. This requires a deliberate, structured approach focusing on three key pillars: technology, finance, and marketing access. One, technical assistance and marketing. Smallholders need practical, hands-on support to transition from traditional method to commercial farming, high-value farming, Madam Deputy Speaker. Establish outgrower demonstration farm adjacent to the main plantation site. This will serve as a practical classroom for smallholders to learn modern crop management, pest control, and efficient irrigation techniques. Climate-smart extension services. The government, in the partnership with Atkins Spence, must establish a dedicated extension service to specifically disseminate the climate-resilient farming, acknowledge the high-value crop protocols developed by this initiative. Madam Speaker, subsidize and provide training on accessible small-scale technologies like hydroponics, precision fertilizer application, and water harvesting system. Madam Deputy Speaker, smallholders often lack the capital to adapt to new and productive models. Implement a robust contract farming scheme where Atkins Spence provides smallholders with granted minimum price, quality seeds, and input on credit, which is then deducted upon harvest purchases. This de-risks the transition for a farmer. Access to low-interest loans, Madam Deputy Speaker. Establish a specialized agriculture modernization revolving credit fund with favorable terms in and collateral requirements for farmers committed to adopting the high-value crops. This initiative contract can serve as collaterals. Insurance scheme that also needs to be done, Madam Deputy Speaker. Third one is market access and value chain inclusion. The key benefit for smallholders must be reliable, profitable access to export markets. Atkins Spence must commit to integrating smallholder production into their export logistics and processing facilities. This eliminates the burden of seeking distance market and guarantees access to the international buyers. Provide intensive training and financial assistance for smallholders to meet international food safety and quality certification, allowing their produce to command premium prices, as stated by Honorable Koya yesterday about bird-eye chilies around $30. Imagine the price of organic product, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, to conclude, farmers' cooperative needs to be established, effectively encourage the resource the formation of farmers and landowners cooperative to manage input, collective bargaining and pooling of produce, giving smallholders the volume and voice needed to negotiate effectively with the corporate partners. If we form the cooperative involving resource owners and farmers, we can do wonders in terms of agro-marketing. By ensuring this initiative is an inclusive growth engine, one that actively pulls small-scale farmers into modernization, high-value export chain, Fiji can achieve both commercial success and broad-based national prosperity. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much for your reply, Honourable Alvik Maharaj. Honourable members, I now call upon the Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development, Honourable Esrom Emmanuel, to deliver his second ministerial statement. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Members of Parliament, and my fellow Fijians. I wish to inform this August House of Fiji's recent trade and investment mission to Japan and our nation's successful participation in the Expo 2025 held in Osaka, Kansai, Japan, both of which mark important milestones in strengthening Fiji's engagement with Japan and the wider Asia-Pacific region. I take this opportunity to extend my deep appreciation to the former Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Manuakan Kamida, for his leadership in spearheading Fiji's delegation to the Expo and the accompanying trade and investment mission. Fiji and Japan shared a long-standing friendship dating back to 1970, a partnership that has stood the test of time, built on the mutual respect, shared values, and common vision for peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. Madam Speaker, I also extend my warmest congratulations to the newly appointed Prime Minister of Japan, Honorable Sanae Takaichi, on her historic appointment as Japan's first female Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, the Trade and Investment Mission to Japan, held from 20 to 28 September, was a key component of the government's economic diplomacy, an agenda designed to expand market access, attract quality investment, and strengthen development cooperation. The mission demonstrated the government's strategic focus on renewable energy, infrastructure, ICT, tourism, and agriculture, areas that complement Japan's advanced technology and innovation-driven economy. Upon arrival in Tokyo, the Fijian delegation was warmly received by Fiji's former ambassador and Commissioner General for Expo 2025, Mr. Filimone Wangabala, whose team provided excellent coordination and support throughout the visit. Throughout the mission, the delegation engaged with Japanese government ministries, development agencies, private investors, and business associations to deepen partnership and explore areas of mutual interest. The visit to Japan's agricultural cooperative provided valuable insights into successful cooperative models that empower rural communities and farmers. These lessons will inform Fiji's ongoing effort to modernize its cooperative movement for greater inclusivity and productivity. The delegation also visited the metropolitan area of the underground discharge channel, one of the world's most advanced flood mitigation systems, a learning opportunity as Fiji continues to strengthen its own disaster resilience and climate adaptation infrastructure. A key event during the mission was the Fiji Trade and Investment Promotion Seminar, held in collaboration with Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, also with the Japan External Trade Organization and the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. The seminar attracted over 80 participants from government, industry, and academia, and served as an effective platform to present Fiji as a reliable investment destination. Discussions focused on renewable energy, digital transformation, infrastructure development, and tourism. Fiji highlighted its national digital strategy, the upcoming business service platform, and reforms designed to streamline investment approvals and improve ease of doing business. These initiatives are positioning Fiji as an emerging trade and a digital hub of the Pacific. At the bilateral level, engagements with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and key private sector partners reaffirm Japan's strong commitment to supporting Fiji's sustainable development goals. Areas identified for collaboration include renewable energy and climate resilience infrastructure, digital connectivity and data infrastructure, including submarine cables and cloud services. Also, agriculture, modernization and cooperative development, labor mobility through Japan's specified skilled workers program, and tourism promotion and aviation partners. Japan also invited Fiji to participate in the coming Pacific Island Business Partner Seminar in November 2025, where renewable energy, waste management, and agriculture will be the central themes. The second part of the mission was to represent Fiji at Expo 2025 in Osaka, Kansai. Following the mission, Fiji participated in the Fiji National Day celebration at Expo 2025, Osaka, a proud moment showcasing Fiji's innovation, resilience, and cultural identity. The Expo theme, Designing Future Society for Our Lives, provide an opportunities for Fiji to demonstrate its commitment to sustainability, ocean stewardship, and inclusive growth. Fiji's pavilion featured displays on renewable energy, tourism, culture, and investment, drawing international attention to Fiji's progress and potential. I extend gratitude to the Prima Navia Group for the outstanding cultural performance at the Expo. The Meka and traditional songs captivated audience and beautifully represented the spirit, warmth, and identity of our people. Madam Speaker, the mission also promoted people-to-people and sports diplomacy through activities such as the Fiji-Japan Golf Tournament and the Mbula Fiji Rugby Sevens Tournament at Hanazono Stadium. These events celebrated friendship and unity, reinforcing the shared values between Fiji and Japan beyond the realm of politics and trade. The way forward, Madam Speaker, the outcomes of the mission and Expo participation provide a strong foundation for a new phase in Fiji-Japan cooperation, one focused on results, innovation, and shared prosperity. The government will now facilitate follow-up investment discussions with Japan businesses through Investment Fiji. It will also strengthen engagement with the Ministry in Japan and JETRO to develop a structured trade and investment roadmap. Also, to advance labor mobility and skills recognition agreements under Japan's program, and also expand Fiji's digital and renewable energy cooperation with Japan through new projects and joint ventures. I'm also pleased to inform the House that as the Prime Minister, who will be leading the government delegation in signing the Japan-Fiji Lomavata Partnership Agreement with the Government of Japan next month. The government acknowledges the tireless effort of the Ministry of Trade, Fiji Embassy in Japan, and the support of the Ministry in Japan, JETRO, the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, FMF, Vodafone, Fiji Airways, Tourism Fiji, and the Nippon Foundations, among others. Fiji's engagement in Japan has reaffirmed our nation's peace place as a trusted and dynamic partner in the Pacific, open for business, ready for investment, and committed to sustainable growth. The mission laid the groundwork for deeper trade, tourism, and labor cooperation with Japan. It also demonstrated the government's collective vision to translate global partnership into real benefits for our people, more jobs, stronger industries, and better livelihoods for our future. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development. I now call upon the designate of the Leader of the Opposition to give the Opposition's reply. Honourable Koya, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. And thank you to the Honourable Minister for the update and on the Trade and Investment Mission to Japan and Fiji's participation at the Expo 2025. Well, Deputy Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the former Minister who asked me to accompany him on this particular trade mission and participation at the Fiji Day at Expo as a member of the opposition. I thank you, Honourable Kamida. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I commend the words of that Honourable Minister has just put forward to us. But I just wanted to add a few things. You know, in terms of Japan itself, Japan has been a part of Fiji's development for many, many years, and this was another opportunity to further what can be done with respect to the friendship and how they hold us in very high regard with respect to trade and many other development issues that they actually help with. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all the members of the ministry, Trade Ministry, who have done a phenomenal job with respect to the Expo, and also the Commissioner, who is our very own CEO at FDB, who actually was the Commissioner for the entire Expo, and also the former ambassador there, Filimoni Wangambada, did a phenomenal job getting the team together and making sure that it was very well run and organized, and I think Fiji has benefited from them. The diaspora also played a good part in actually getting this done, and as a few names that were mentioned, like the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, etc. Tremendous amount of help to the Fiji mission. In terms of what was achieved, quite a lot, Honourable Speaker, and I think it's commendable on the part of the former minister and the team in respect to furthering Fiji's interests from a development perspective, and all the areas that were spoken of by them, Honourable Minister, were very well seen to by them, and I think one of the things that's important to remember is that they have been and they still are at the forefront of our development. One of the things that stood out for me was that they are currently and they spoke a lot about this, wanting to do a lot of work at the airport, affiliation with AFL, to see if AFL can move to another level, or Fiji Airports Limited, I should say. And there was some serious discussions regarding that. And of course, the different sectors, I'm talking about renewable energy, etc., all of those things. Participation by the Reserve Bank also was there from the Trade and Investment, from a Trade and Investment Pacific, part in Investment Fiji, which was well received. And as I said, Japan is an important partner to Fiji. And I'm glad the Honourable Prime Minister will be going along to see what can be done in terms of them being a massive development partner for us, and they have been at the forefront of all of this. And it's not just from now, it's been from before. And I say this quite regularly, I think DENRA would not be DENRA if it wasn't for the Japanese. They were the ones who developed it in the first place. So they've been a very big, important, crucial part of our tourism sector. And all of this was showcased at the Expo, which was a tremendous platform for us to use for 6 months to actually get this done. They've been a phenomenal part of our tourism industry. Fiji Airways also had a booth there to get all of it done. Some private sector people that were there that did a tremendous job right throughout the 6 months to do it. And I think for the last couple of expos, Fiji has successfully used that particular platform to further our trade and foreign affairs interests in that particular area. All in all, Honourable Prime Minister, I just wanted to say that we have a phenomenal unit that's actually currently sitting in Japan, and she happens to be the Charge d'Affaires there, a wonderful candidate for our next ambassador if she does apply, Honourable Speaker. And her name is Kalera, and she stands in very high regard with respect. And every time anybody's gone there, she's dealt with them very well. She speaks Japanese, she knows the lay of the land, and she would be a perfect ambassador for us, Honourable Prime Minister, if she were to apply and if the post is still available. But all in all, Deputy Speaker, very positive result. Once again, big Winakawakalewu to the Ministry of Trade and to the Foreign Minister for putting Fiji on that particular pedestal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Koya. We forge on with our ministerial statements, honourable members, and I'll now give the floor to the Minister for Youth and Sports, the Honourable Chesis Okuru, to deliver his statement.
The Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Members of Cabinet, Honourable Members of Parliament, and viewers who are watching through television broadcast live from their comfort zones. Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, today I rise to share with this Honourable House the story of a journey of transformation, growth, and unwavering commitment by the Ministry of Youth and Sport in its pursuit of excellence. Before I do that, ma'am, allow me to express my deepest gratitude for the exceptional support that made it possible for our Fiji National Rugby League to send our talented young Bulikula girls to the World Cup qualifier in Canada. The journey was undoubtedly challenging, especially given the financial constraints we faced due to a lack of sponsorship. However, it was our government's unwavering determination through the Fiji National Sports Commission that was instrumental in exploring every possible option to ensure the team could participate. Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, these efforts allowed our girls to shine on the international stage, achieving remarkable victories against Canada with a score of 48-0, and Nigeria with an impressive 62-4. The Fiji Bulakula team has now qualified for the 2026 World Cup in Australia, and we congratulate them for that. In 2024, the Ministry made a bold decision to move beyond business as usual and to embrace a new culture of performance and innovation. We joined the Fiji Business Excellence Awards and the National Convention on Innovation and Quality, marking the beginning of what we proudly call our Pursuit of Excellence journey. Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, this was more than an administrative step. It was a declaration of intent, a declaration that the Ministry of Youth and Sports is determined to match the passion of our young people and athletes with the same level of excellence and discipline in how we plan, deliver, and measure our work. Our goal was simple, yet ambitious, to become a model ministry that not only serves but inspires, one that leads with data-driven decision-making, embraces innovation, and sets the standard for accountability and service delivery across government. Embracing a culture of excellence. Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, at the 2024 Fiji Business Excellence Awards night, the former President of the Republic of Fiji, His Excellency Ratu Williame Katunivere, reminded the nation that we live in an era defined by rapid technological change. He noted that advancements such as automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are reshaping industries worldwide, and Fiji must be prepared to embrace these opportunities. The Ministry of Youth and Sports fully agrees. We see technology and data not as challenges, but as opportunities to transform how we operate to optimize resources, improve accuracy, and strengthen our impact. In a world where resources are limited, data-driven decisions enable us to focus on what truly matters for the development of our youth and the progress of sports in our nation. Learning from global best practices, Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, Fiji's leadership in the Asian Productive Organization, APO, as chair for the 2025-2026 term has further inspired our ministry's journey. During the 67th APO governing body meeting, the chair, Fiji's Permanent Secretary for Employment, Productivity and Industrial Relations, stated that, and I quote, "It is not the size, but the ability of a community to come together and find a way forward that defines success," unquote. This principle is central to our ministry's transformation. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has embraced this truth, that collective effort, collaboration, and shared purpose are the true drivers of excellence. Investing in people and process. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, with the technical guidance of the National Training and Productivity Center, our staff underwent structured induction and training to participate effectively in the 2025 Fiji Business Excellence Awards and the National Convention on Innovation and Quality. We piloted our first quality control circle, QCC, within the National Youth Band, developing and launching the Ministry's Quality Circles Implementation Handbook, a practical guide for sustaining quality and innovation across all our divisions. At the National Convention, our National Youth Band proudly represented the Ministry and was recognized with a one-star award, a milestone achievement that symbolizes our emerging excellence and commitment to continuous improvement. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, the transformation we are witnessing is both cultural and operational. Through the Quality Circles initiative, we have shifted from traditional top-down management to a more inclusive, participative approach. During our 2025 strategic planning session, the National Youth Band demonstrated this change in mindset by developing its own strategic plan and balanced scorecard, aligning its objectives with the Ministry's broader strategy and with Fiji's representation at the World Expo 2027, where their band leader will serve as the pavilion director. This process has nurtured a new way of thinking among our staff, a shift from problem blindness to problem consciousness, from silos to collaboration, and from stagnation to continuous improvement. It is a living example of how a culture of excellence can reshape behavior, build ownership, and inspire creativity. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, we also acknowledge that this journey is not without its challenges. True transformation requires patience, resilience, and humility. We continue to nurture our staff, correct mistakes, and refine our processes to ensure compliance, transparency, and accountability. In fact, as we strive for higher levels of excellence, we often uncover more areas that need improvement. This is not failure. It is the very essence of growth. What was once considered good enough becomes the new challenge to conquer. That, Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, is how excellence matures. Our pursuit of business excellence is therefore not a destination, but a continuous journey, one that evolves as we evolve as a ministry and as a nation. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to sincerely thank the National Training and Productivity Center, the Fiji National University, and all our development partners who have supported us on this path. I also pay tribute to all Fijians, public servants, business leaders, educators, and community champions who have contributed to building Fiji's national productivity movement. Your dedication to quality and innovation strengthens our collective capacity as a nation. Finally, Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, I call on every ministry, every organization, and every citizen. Let us all be champions of excellence and productivity in our respective spheres of influence, whether in government, the private sector, or the community. Let us adopt the mindset that good is never enough when better is possible. Productive Fiji begins with productive people. An excellent nation is built by those who never stop improving. Madam Honorable Deputy Speaker and honorable members, I thank you for indulgence and vinakavaleu.
Thank you, Honourable Minister Saukuru. I now call upon the Leader of the Opposition or his designate to reply. Honourable Usamati Vinaka.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Ministry for going on this journey of being part of the Fiji Business Excellence Awards and the awards framework. And I think this is, awards framework was started by the Fiji National Training Council, and then it's now with the National Training and Productivity Center. I think and one of the things that we always need in the country is to make sure, one of the visions of the Fiji Business Excellence Awards was to create world-class organizations in Fiji, in government, in the private sector, and so forth. And it used the framework that came out of the Malcolm Baldrige Awards of the United States of America, which had 7 criteria, Madam Deputy Speaker: leadership, visionary leadership, leadership based on values, leadership that has high expectations of those that work in the organization. Secondly, a major focus on strategic planning. The idea that you have to understand your environment and plan, move forward. Third, customer focus. Fourth, very important, management by fact. You can't manage what you cannot measure. That's a very fundamental principle in the Business Excellence Awards. Fifth is human resource and process management with a very strong focus on a system perspective, realizing that whatever you do within an organization, you can't just focus on what you do as an organization. You need to look at the whole system and how it operates together. A systems perspective of looking at things, and the idea that this will then, and that if you're able to manage your process as well, keep improving your process using the tools that the ministers talked about, the quality circles, the 5S, the Kaizen, the ISO 9000, the business process management, all of these things help you to build that culture of improvement. One of the good things that we had, Madam Deputy Speaker, when the former Member of Parliament, Andre Chale, was a permanent secretary, he adopted the idea of the Business Excellence Awards, and they created the 7 Excellence Awards for all of the government ministries. So then they got all the government ministries to use these principles to be able to manage, and they had an annual award function. I think, given that some ministries have done it, the ministry, I think Tokay Affairs did it a few years ago, now the Ministry of Youth and Sport, if we want to be able to build our civil service up, this is a good way to do it. We now have the FLIPS, Fiji, what's it called? Fiji Learning Institute of Public Service. I think that'll be a great place to put this idea of bringing in the Service Excellence Award. It's all about systemic thinking about how you approach programs. A lot of times when you look at problems, you just look at isolated problems. We need to have a more systemic approach to it. And I believe that if we can do that, have this framework that has been proven over time, it's still being run by the Fiji National University. There was that framework that was adapted to suit our government ministries, and similar things have been done in other countries, like Singapore, for instance. We have these award systems, these frameworks that can raise the performance of all organizations in Fiji. I think this weekend they actually have the awards night down in Sheraton, and the fact that the minister is in, I would encourage the Prime Minister to consider this idea, Service Excellence Awards framework. This was something that we had in the past, and I believe there's a time to do it. One of the things I noticed, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, sometimes annual reports come, and we see some annual reports. You know, well, we had one in our report, there was for this year, and then for that year, but not for this. And then you ask, why happened? Because the people that were in that organization that had the data at that time had left. But when you have an excellent system, that data is always there. There's systemic ways of capturing the information, so if somebody walks out, people are there who can continue the job. This is what I'm talking about, systemic perspective. These are the kinds of things that are covered in this award framework. And I would commend to the House, commend to the Prime Minister, to seriously think about this Fiji Business Excellence Awards, a Service Excellence Awards framework that can be used by government ministries, that can once again be run from the public service as it was done a few years ago. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Lusamate. Now I think we'll go to our first ministerial statement for the afternoon. I now give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection, the Honourable Sashi Kiran, to deliver her ministerial statement. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, Assistant Ministers, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Members of Parliament, Ms. Ayana Vinakasaka, greetings to all who have joined us this session virtually. Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to join Minister for Youth in congratulating our Fiji Bulikula team for qualifying for the IRL Rugby League World Cup next year. This is greatly inspiring for young women in Fiji. Madam Deputy Speaker, the International Day of the Girl Child is commemorated on 11th October and focuses attention on the need to address challenges girls face in our homes and our communities. For the first time this year, our ministry marked the day to create awareness on the needs, challenges, and potential of our young girls. It is a special day and reminds us that our girls are not waiting to become Fiji's future. They are already shaping our present. Every day, they are leading, innovating, and breaking barriers. It is a celebration of girls as innovators, leaders, as sportswomen, and change agents in our communities. This commemoration serves to amplify their voices and pushes for their inclusion in research, policy, and development plans. The day calls on everyone to stand with girls and invest in a future that believes in their agency and potential. Madam Deputy Speaker, the celebration of Girl Child also draws attention to the inequalities and dangers many girls face due to their gender. This includes barriers to education, healthcare, and protection from violence. Recent statistics shared by the Assistant Minister for Health, Honourable Penioni Ravunawa, painted a sobering picture. In just the first 6 months of this year, 8 girls under the age of 15 became mothers, while another 481 girls aged between 15 and 19 gave birth. In total, 850 teenage pregnancies were recorded in 2024, including 17 girls under the age of 15. Madam Deputy Speaker, these are not just statistics. These are our children, our girls who should be in classrooms, not in delivery wards. Between 2020 and 2024, 7,283 crimes were reported against children in Fiji, and 5,085 of these, that is 70%, involved girls. Adolescent girls of age 13 to 17 are the most affected, accounting for nearly 69% of all child crime victims. The majority of these are sexual offenses, rape, defilement, and sexual assault. This means too many of our girls are not safe, not even in their own homes. The Western and Southern divisions record the highest number of cases, but rural communities in the North and East also face serious risks. Technology-facilitated violence poses additional higher risks to our young girls. Deputy Madam Speaker, these numbers are not acceptable. No child should live in fear of abuse in our country. No girl should lose opportunity to grow to her full potential. Madam Deputy Speaker, to draw attention to these issues, our ministry, in partnership with Ministry of Education and other agencies, coordinated divisional activities across our communities. In Central Division, Nakavika Primary School in Namosi celebrated the day with parents, teachers, and village elders. In Northern Division, Lambasa College, Holy Family, and Bethel Primary School came together to organize various activities. In the Eastern Division, activities were organized across Kandavu's 3 districts, Tavuki, Nambukalevu, and Yale, reaching 27 villages. And in the Western Division, Koripita held awareness and empowerment program for its community. The programs featured awareness sessions and discussions on teenage pregnancy, early marriage, HIV and AIDS, substance abuse, leadership, and sports inclusion. Student oratory contests brought out powerful narrations on challenges faced by our young girls, but also showed their potential in critical thinking and leadership. Key partners included the Fiji Police Force, Medical Services Pacific, the National Fire Authority, and the Fiji Sports Commission. There were fun activities for learning, opportunities for counseling and support, and more importantly, availability of information on how to seek assistance if in need. community elders, teachers, students, and stakeholders had focused discussions on creating opportunities for growth of girl child in each of these communities. Madam Deputy Speaker, we all know that education is one of the greatest tools for empowerment. Yet, data shows that many of our girls are still falling through the cracks. In rural schools, school dropout rate between year 8 and year 12 is almost 40% compared with the national average of 20%. According to the FEMIS Term 3 data for 2024, 73,295 girls enroll in primary school compared to 79,240 boys, a 6.5% gap that has remained consistent over the past 5 years. At the secondary level, 7,554 girls remain in year 12, but drop to around 5,258 in year 13. As girls reach senior levels, thousands seem to drop out of school system. While large numbers of boys also seem to be dropping out, many eventually go to vocational or employment opportunities. When girls drop out of school, they face severe consequences, including reduced earnings, lower standards of living, and a higher risk of early marriage and childbearing. Other impacts include poorer health outcomes, less agency in household and community decisions, and a cycle of limited opportunities for themselves and their children. For too long, these uncomfortable truths have been ignored and potential lost. We have to confront these challenges head-on, Madam Deputy Speaker. With the support of our partners, parents, and community leaders, the hope is that we build a strong network of protection and empowerment for every Fijian girl across the nation. Through the coalition government's integrated approach, we are strengthening child protection systems, enhancing community awareness, and ensuring that girls have access to both education and health services. This is being done through expanding family and community counseling services, integrating school-based awareness on safety, health, and leadership, and strengthening coordination between police, medical professionals, social welfare, and schools for faster response to cases of abuse and neglect. Through our divisional engagements, girls and communities have called for continuous campaigns in schools and villages. There have been requests for education materials in vernacular languages, leadership training for girls, and stronger linkages between schools, health, and protection services. In response, we are now in discussion with the Ministry of Education to make the International Day of the Girl Child a permanent feature on Fiji's National School and Empowerment Calendar. Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to thank Ministry of Education, all participating schools, community leaders, service providers, and stakeholders for coming together to commemorate this special day. This year we have just started, so it was in select communities, but we hope we can build on it for nationwide awareness and campaigns in the coming year. Our message is simple: every Fijian girl matters and deserves protection and opportunity to grow to their full potential. May God bless our children, may God bless our children, may God bless our girls. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Sashi Kiran, Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection. Now I give the floor to the Leader of Opposition or his designate. Honourable Virendra Lal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I thank the Honourable Minister for her statement on the International Day of the Girl Child. This is very personal, ma'am. Every father in this parliament and across Fiji shares the same wish. We want the absolute best for our daughters. They are our princesses. Their future success is our most urgent national duty. We are driven by love, protection, and prayer that they will achieve more than we ever did. The Minister calls on us to invest in a future that believes in our girls' agency and potential. And Madam Deputy Speaker, our girls have done their part. I am a very proud father of 3 daughters, and our daughters are delivering. They are smarter, they are finishing school, and they are graduating at higher rates than our sons. Data shows that high school completion for girls reaches up to 97% compared to 79% for boys. But this is where the national story turns tragic. The moment our daughters leave the classroom, they are met with a betrayal of potential. This is the failure government must answer for. We have the best educated generation of young women in our history, but we allow their talent to be served by old beliefs that a woman's place is only in the home. We have a saying which is beautiful and true. Give a woman a house and she will turn it into a home. I agree, Madam Speaker. Our women turn houses into homes through love and sacrifice. But our national statistics show that the government's failure to address key policy gaps is what enforces this expectation. How? By failing to provide affordable, quality national childcare. This policy gap ensures that the responsibility for care falls amongst entirely on women, who spend nearly 3 times more hours on unpaid care work than men. This lack of support is the structural barrier that keeps the female labor force participation rate locked at a mere 36.2%. The female labor force gap is 30 percentage points. Our girls are twice as likely to be out of the formal workforce as our sons. This is not a social issue. It is an economic crisis. The World Bank confirms that closing this gender employment gap by unlocking women's time would boost Fiji's GDP per capita by a massive 30%. 30%, Madam Deputy Speaker, our daughters are 30% economic powerhouse that this government is refusing to administer. We need a commitment in the budget, not just a plan. We talk about women's leadership, but female representation in this parliament remains crucially low, as you know, ma'am. When civil society and women's advocates call for a structural change to bring women to the decision-making table, prominent voices within the government call it tokenistic. How can we look our daughters in the eye and tell them to lead our nation when the men in this house oppose the very measures designed to ensure their place at the highest level of decision-making? This is the hypocrisy we must end. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to address every father and every son listening to this debate today. The Honourable Minister's statement reminds us that we have a moral duty, not just as politicians, but as men, to dismantle the barriers that prevent our daughters from achieving the excellence they have earned. We can argue about policy and budgets all day, but the root of the problem is in the heart. My daughters, your daughters, all of Fiji's daughters are worthy of more than 3 times the labor and the half economic opportunity. The foundation of the future is simple. We must teach our sons to love and respect our daughters and to stand with them, not once a year, but every single day. Only when we stand together, men and women, fathers and daughters, in mutual love and respect, can we see the better, more prosperous Fiji for our children who deserve a better Fiji. Thank you, Madam. Thank you. Naka.
Thank you very much, Honourable Virendra Lal. Vinaka, and on that note, Honourable members, would you just join me in a round of applause for the Mbulikula Women's Rugby League side? Vinaka Bakalevu, it's 12:20, and as I have not received any communications from the Madam SG, we will continue on. I now call upon the Minister for Fisheries and Forests, the Honourable Ali Tiambainivalu, to deliver her statement to us this afternoon. Thank you, Madam.
Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, viewers tuning in live on Parliament's Facebook channel, Ms. Ayanda Vinaka. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I rise to deliver my statement to inform the House about the successful convening of the 9th Pacific Tuna Forum under the transformative theme, Pacific Tuna 2050, Resilience, Innovation, Equity and Sustainable Trade for a Prosperous Future. Honorable Madam Speaker, the event held at the Sofitel Fiji Resort from the 14th to the 15th of October showcased regional cooperation and solidarity, and most importantly, reaffirmed Fiji's position on ocean conservation and sustainable fisheries management. Honorable Madam Speaker, the 9th Tuna Forum brought together in unity fisheries experts, policymakers, industry leaders, academics, development partners, and community representatives from across the Pacific and the globe. Fiji, as the co-host with the government of Papua New Guinea, reaffirmed the regional shared goal and commitment to the sustainable management of our shared tuna stock, which is vital to the social and economic well-being of Pacific Island people. Honorable Madam Speaker, partnering with InfoFish, an intergovernmental organization based in Malaysia, highlights that our shared tuna stock is not only crucial to the socio-economic well-being of our people, but its long-term viability and sustainability also has wide-reaching global impacts in trade, markets, food security, poverty alleviation, wealth creation, and climate change. Honorable Madam Speaker, the Western Central Pacific Ocean, or the WCPO, which Fiji is party to, accounts for nearly 60% of the global tuna harvest. The status of the shared tuna stocks in the WCPO, such as skipjack, big eye, yellowfin, and the South Pacific albacore tuna, remains healthy, not overfished, and is not subject to overfishing. Therefore, Honorable Madam Speaker, the stock status in the WCPO not only indicates effective fisheries management and robust scientific monitoring, but also demonstrates strong regional cooperation. With that being said, Fiji has always been at the forefront of the region's sustainable efforts with the implementation of specific management measures that ensure the protection of the region's shared tuna stocks. Some of these measures include the establishment of the Fiji National Quota and License Cap, the demarcation of closed areas, the use of specific gears and mitigation methods to prevent incidental catch, the protection of endangered shark species, and the protection of turtles, marine mammals, and cetaceans, etc. Honorable Madam Speaker, in the last 10 years, the WCPO catch average has been about 2.7 million metric tons. Of this, 1.5 million metric tons are from waters of the 17 members of the Pacific Island Forum Fisheries Agency. Of the volume of tuna caught in the FFA waters, only about 214,000 metric tons are actually processed in the FFA countries. In contrast, most of the tonnage, which accounts for 86% of the total catch in the FFA waters of member countries, is taken offshore for processing. Fiji has been fortunate that out of the 17 developing states in the region, we have been able to lead the quest of being able to invest on shore-based processing establishments to value-add products and export tuna caught within our waters as a Fijian product. Honorable Madam Speaker, with our ongoing shared vision and determination, Fiji, as a domesticated tuna industry, has been able to get equitable market shares in competing destinations across Japan, USA, and the European Union. Honorable Deputy Speaker, on the other hand, when raw materials are exported offshore for processing, we miss out on job opportunities, equitable wealth creation, and the transfer of technology and wealth. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Minister of Fisheries recognizes the importance of hosting the 9th Pacific Tuna Forum, which provides a platform for key experts, policymakers, development partners, and industries to engage in effective dialogue and meaningful collaboration to strengthen and make the tuna industry more equitable. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the 9th Pacific Tuna Forum provided an opportunity for the Minister of Fisheries to learn and understand the global tuna supply chain and identify new entry points into the competitive global tuna market to help shape our national strategies. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Tuna Forum also allowed Fiji to showcase the spirit of partnership and cooperation that defines our Pacific identity and the global influence on our tuna. The number of registered participants reached 430 from the targeted number of 300, confirming that the Pacific Tuna Forum remains the leading platform for dialogue, cooperation, and strategic engagement on the tuna industry in the Pacific. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the deliberations centered on 4 key pillars. 1, resilience through adaptive management of our tuna resources. 2, innovation involving embracing new technologies, digital solutions, and scientific advances to enhance sustainability and efficiency. 3, equity, ensuring that Pacific Island communities, particularly those most dependent on fisheries, derive fair and inclusive benefits. And lastly, sustainable trade, fostering market systems that reward responsible fishing and contribute to long-term economic growth. Honorable Deputy Speaker, available dialogue and information will help re-strategize our development inspirations and provide a strategic direction to transform the fisheries sector. With regional cooperation and support from FFA and SPC and our development partners, the primary focus is increasing the value of retaining tuna caught in our waters so it can be processed locally and sold in the main export market for equitable market shares and as a product of individual members. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this ongoing initiative will contribute to our development inspirations of creating employment opportunities and building a stronger economy. As the Pacific hub, Fiji has a significant advantage with easy access to trade destinations, a profitable niche, and access to new markets. To realize this, Madam Deputy Speaker, the focus is now to invest in the tuna value chain, including high-value seafoods, as it presents an opportunity for a stronger and resilient economy. Honorable Deputy Speaker, please allow me to re-emphasize that Fiji has one of the most developed tuna value chains among FFA member countries. We have built a fully domesticated longline fishing fleet, onshore processing facilities, and a thriving domestic fishing industry. The catch from our longline fishery, primarily consisting of South Pacific albacore, are landed, processed, and sold according to market standards, making a name for Fiji in the world's competitive tuna market. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the 9th Tuna Forum also created a space and platform to present and market Fijian caught and produced fisheries products, which is essential to the industry's growth. It further provided the opportunity for Fiji's tuna industry to benefit from valuable networking, knowledge exchange on market and trade, technological innovation, and social and environmental commitment that contributes to the transformation of the fisheries sector. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we had the opportunity to maximize economic returns, explore diversification opportunities, increase market access, and attract new investments to contribute to our national development aspirations. To achieve this, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Minister of Fisheries is working to realize our national goals and strategies, aligning with the National Development Plan 2025 to 2029 and Vision 2050, in collaboration with our FFA and our development partners. Honorable Deputy Speaker, one key priority is improving supporting services such as infrastructure and cold chain to boost Fiji as a fisheries and maritime hub in the Pacific. Fiji's identification as one of the hubs under the hub and spokes model within FFA member countries is intended to create the opportunity to trade within our region and also address the challenges of raw materials to support our processing facilities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, as a responsible ministry, we wish to extend our sincere appreciation to the coalition government for its confidence and for the budgetary provision of $562,500 that ensured Fiji's successful hosting of the 9th Pacific Tuna Forum, which enabled the ministry to deliver the forum effectively, reflecting the government's commitment to advancing regional cooperation and reinforcing Fiji's leadership on fisheries management and ocean conservation. Honorable Madam Speaker, the successful convening of the Pacific Tuna Forum is a clear indication that through collaboration, solidarity, and a shared vision, the Pacific region can continue to protect, develop, and sustain its tuna resources for the long-term benefit of our people. The Minister of Fisheries remains firmly committed to this cause, driven by a deep passion for our ocean, people, and communities. And as we look ahead, Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, we do so with confidence and conviction that we can continue to build a future where we capture greater returns from processing, marketing, and branding our own products. Madam Deputy Speaker, before I take my seat, I would like to wish my son Sekyusa and his year 13 classmates at Queen Victoria School on their chemistry paper this afternoon, their last paper in the year 13 examination, also marking the end of the external exams in the secondary school journey. Madam Deputy Speaker, also remember year 13 students in schools across Fiji who are also completing the year 13 exams this week. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Honorable Alitia Mbainivalo, Minister for Fisheries and Forestry. I know you join me, honorable members, in wishing all our students right around the country all the very best in all the exams that they're sitting currently. I now call upon the designate of the Leader of the Opposition, who I think is going to be Honorable Corella Visau, to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. I will address you as Madam Speaker while you occupying the chair. I think it is just right and fair. Madam Speaker, this regional platform encompasses diverse global voices advocating for sustainable and prosperous tuna industry within the Western Central Pacific Ocean. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Minister has outlined major issues that were discussed and the direction that the Pacific Tuna Forum would take going into the future. Her statement included the opportunity to understand the global tuna supply chain, identification of entry points into global tuna trade market, and improving support services such as infrastructure and cold chain to boost Fiji as a maritime hub in the Pacific. Madam Speaker, Pacific Tuna 2015 Resilience produces equity, sustainable trade for a prosperous future. And as the Honourable Minister has alluded to, it was held at Sofitel Fiji Resort and Spa in Danarau. I understand when she stood up to present her statement this morning that the government of Papua New Guinea and Fiji were joint host for the conference. And I thank her for the detailed statement that she had made this morning. But I just wanted to, for the benefit of those without the background of the tuna industry, I think it is important to highlight the three packages that she discussed this morning. Firstly, the relationship between the different sectors in the production and marketing of tuna within the Pacific, and especially Fiji being the central focus for the South Pacific and within the WCO sector. First, it involves the fishermen that control and dominate this sector. The fishing firms that supply and dominate the region. And then comes the firms that control the fish that have been caught in the region. With that, we are talking about bumblebee, chicken of the sea, and stockist. They are the ones that dictate the price and actually distribute tuna all over the world. As the Honourable Minister has said, they control around about 60 to 80% of tuna in the market. And then you have firms that control and dominate the region. You have Trimarine, you have FCF, which runs Pacific PEFCO in Levuka, and then you have Intochin, the Japanese company. These fishing firms that supply branded manufacture with raw material dispersed across the globe basically have ownership, but are highly fragmented at the level of competition that they run within this industry. And I am glad that the Honourable Minister this morning highlighted Fiji's pivotal position within the region because of its position within the South Pacific and the development that exists, that have already existed in port facilities, and with us, with PEFCO, we should be able to go into the future and be comfortable that we will be one of the major players in this industry. I also thank the Minister to continue, and I thank her in continuing to put Fiji as the leader in the South Pacific and within the Western Pacific Ocean of interest for tuna industry and tuna fishing. She highlighted that the proposed attendees was supposed to be 200, but 340 attended this conference. This highlights the importance of Fiji and the importance of tuna industry within our economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much for your reply, Honorable Corolla Bissau. Honorable members, before we adjourn for lunch, I just want to remind members of the House Committee that your meeting is at the small committee room immediately after we adjourn. So, honorable members, at this point, we will suspend proceedings for lunch. Parliament will resume at 2:30. Minaksaka.